Okay, we're in the Museum of the Moving Image, Astoria, New York. So she is working on a stop motion animation here. I'll show you the one she's working on. Very cool. You see it there. Camera's overhead there, and then whatever she puts on there, it ends up on the screen. So you can actually see her moving it around and on the screen, and then you can take your one frame at a time. She's already done 5 frames, but you can have them dance, move their arms, move their legs. Very cool. These are all sets for stop frame, 1 frame at a time animation, also known as 3D printed. Oh, these are 3D printed faces. The cinematographer, also known as the director of the photography, is in charge of translating the director's intentions into visual terms. The cinematographer selects cameras, lenses, film stock, and lighting equipment. These choices are technical, but they influence the look, the color, the brightness, and the contrast of every frame of the finished film. The cinematographer's work begins in pre-production when locations are selected and sets and costumes are designed. During production, the cinematographer is often the director's closest collaborator. Together, they determine lighting, composition of shots, camera movement, depth of field, and other artistic elements of photography. After shooting ends, the cinematographer supervises the printing of the film to ensure that the laboratory achieves the intended level of brightness and color tone. The film and the camera, the first practical motion picture camera made possible by the invention of flexible paper-based film, was built by Etienne Jules Marais in France in 1888 and 1891. Thomas Edison's New Jersey laboratories created the first American camera to use flexible film. The film camera's basic mechanism has changed very little since. A strip of film travels through the camera in intermittent motion. The pull-down mechanism, invented in 1895, moves a single frame into position, holds it steady for 1/48 of a second while it's exposed, and then moves the next frame into position. It repeats this process 24 times per second, moving the film forward in precision synchronization with the shutter in order to expose the frames to the light passing through the lens. documentaries and newsreels. The first filmmakers turned their cameras on the world around them. And some of the first movies captured street scenes, vaudeville performers, waves lapping on a shore. Hollywood soon discovered the tremendous appeal of fiction and narrative. Newsreels and documentary films continue to find subjects in the world outside the studio. Because news cameras must be able to function in unpredictable environments, they are designed to be lightweight, dependable, and easy to use. Many news cameras have been made for handheld use and produce footage that has an immediate, spontaneous feel. Live television news footage lacked the dynamic quality of film newsreels until the 1970s, when systems were invented that linked portable video cameras from mobile studios, which were often trucks and trailers on the scene. These are all tools for measuring light. Unlike the eye, film does not automatically compensate for changes in the level and color of light. To produce the desired image of film, the cinematographer must adjust the camera's lens to let in the proper amount of light. A light meter measures the available light, taking into account the sensitivity of the film stock being used. This enables the cinematographer to determine the proper opening of the camera's lens aperture. To capture a moving image, the television camera records a series of still pictures very rapidly. Unlike a film camera, a television camera is an electronic device. It works by converting images, patterns of light and darkness into electrical signals, which can then be broadcast or stored. The receiver reverses this process. The first television cameras, which were developed in the 1920s, used a mechanical disc to capture images for broadcast. By the 1930s, Philo T. Farnsworth and Vladimir Zworykin has separately created functional all-electronic television systems. There is no single inventor of all electronic television. Both Farnsworth and Zworykin contributed to its development. In the 1920s, RCA executive David Sarnoff devoted corporate resources to the advancement of television out of concern that competition for visual home entertainment could disrupt the RCA-dominated radio market. Zworykin perfected his iconoscope while employed by RCA, and Sarnoff partnered it with Farnsworth's image dissector to create a commercially viable electronic television system. Sarnoff demonstrated the RCA system at the 1939 New York World's Fair. After a lengthy legal battle, RCA was forced to pay Farnsworth $1 million in royalties for using his technology.